Yo, what's going on, guys? We got the CBR1000RR 2021 today. We are going to be doing the fender Eliminator as well as the integrated rear tail light install and a couple other pieces that we're going to be putting on. The integrated tail light that we're going to be putting in, it has the turn signals in it, so we're going to be throwing that in. And we also got a couple things, you know, for the tank protector here, CBR, too much shine on it, and then the gas cover and a keychain. Also, you may be wondering, there is still one more piece that we didn't mention, and that is going to be the plate relocator. That is a little bit tricky. We are starting this project today, and that part, which the plate and the closeout, that's going to go underneath and block that hole, because when you do this, you can't just take that out. You got to block that hole up. It's a small one, but it's still going to be a hole, and you'll get stuff all up in your bay there. So it's scheduled to arrive today, so fingers crossed. Hopefully as we get into this, it will arrive, so we'll keep you updated. Also, if you want to check out, we got another video. Check out the other video on my channel, the CBR1000RR in a snowstorm. It basically is you know, kind of the whole adventure of us going to get it. Had to go all the way to Ohio and everything, so it just kind of explains like how we got it, and this is the stock way that we got it, right from the dealership. All right, so the first thing you want to do is, of course, you got to take your seats off. So the back one is easy enough, it just pops out and comes off there. You want to make sure you put it in a safe place. And for the seat here, you want to use your 5mm Allen wrench here. All right, so after you get the two bolts, make sure on these bolts that you catch your washers. There's a washer on the bottom piece of this, and then it should just lift right out of here. And again, make sure you put this on a nice, clean, safe place. All right, so the next thing you want to do is you got your 3mm hex wrench, and you want to take out the 3 screws that are here, 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 and here. So once you get all 4 of those out, set those to the side in a nice precarious place to fall off and get scared of the rock. So after this, now everything should be loose. You want to take off this back portion here, this shroud, and this should be kind of loose in here, but it's going to be connected by these side panels here. So you got to kind of pop them off of there. The best way really is kind of just push in and gently nudge them off. These have a clip that are going into these, so you got to kind of just separate them the best way you can, and there's no real easy way to do it. You just kind of pop them out the side this way. So I know Jeff is freaking out here and this stuff crackle and pop, but yeah, it's just popping out. You don't want to have any crinkle. Boom. So you got your shroud out now. That pulls out. Make sure you put this in a nice safe place. So the next thing you got to do, use your Phillips head screwdriver, and you need to take out the plastic pieces. I hope that is getting it on that side, but these are just some screw out plastic pieces that hold them in place. You may need to get a screwdriver in there to pop them out if they're hard to get to. Otherwise they should just pop out, and they're plastic, so not too hard to get out at all. So I kind of bring you down. They just kind of screw up and they pop up, and then once they're popped up, you can kind of use a fingernail and pull them up. This one's a little stubborn, so I just grab a little screwdriver and pop up on it, and it should pop right out. All right, once you get those out, it just pops up, and this is only a top plastic piece, so just kind of finish popping it up from the side, and you push in on this bottom panel here. You push in and kind of grip it up, and it should pop up the same way the rest of it did. Okay, now that I wrestled a little bit, just kind of pop it. Like I said, this bottom one hooks the top one over top, so you do got to put a little bit of pressure on them sometimes and get them to pop off of there like the other side. once they do. All right, so once you pop it off, the sides here, this top part will just come away and it leaves the bottom. And again, leave this in a nice safe place where you're not going to step on it. And just to give a little look at the tabs, they stick out. The bottom part, hopefully that's in focus, stick out and capture the top. So you'll be pulling that, pushing on this bottom one as you're pulling the top one up over that ridge. So you're not going to break anything. As you can see, this bike came with the low jack system. It basically is like an informational thing if anybody touches your bike, leans it or anything like that. So it already has some equipment that's hooked up in here, but there is still enough space. You want to just tuck that away while you're doing this. But also what we are going to do while we have this open is to install the servo for the LED lights. And the type of LED lights that we're putting on is the LED glow light kit. So we're going to be wiring this up, and this is going to be the main servo for all of that connection. You know, this is that catches the remote. It comes with a remote control, you know, to turn them on and off, and also comes with a feature that will allow all of every time you hit the brakes, all of the LED lights, whatever color they may be on, automatically go red. So the whole bike will start glowing red. And so I believe it's just a blue wire that goes into the power connection. So we're going to hook that up to the power and make sure that that's good to go for when we do the lights. All right, after that, you want to take out the screws. It's going to be the Phillips head screws. There's 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is going to drop the bottom plastic out. All right, so the next thing you want to do to get this bottom piece of plastic off is to remove the screws. It's going to be a Phillips head screw. There's going to be 4 of them, one here, 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 and here. So once you get the 4 screws out, this bottom part should just fall down. There's going to be some clips here. The clips come from the bottom side of the plastic in, so you just got to separate that out a little bit here and on here. Being careful, don't pull too much on any one piece of plastic. Kind of clips all the way around the back. And once you get that free, it just slides right out. Make sure this goes to a safe place. All right, so after you get that bottom piece off, to get this lower piece from underneath, you take out these 2 screws that are located underneath. They're the little plastic screws that just twist and then pop off. And again, you may need to use a small screwdriver to pop them out. And then once you get this off here, it should pop out of there fairly easy. So this one. Come on. So when you're pulling these, you can't pull the bottom part. You got to pull on this center ring and up. You can't pull here because it just pushes it down and locks it. That's how it locks when it goes in. All right, so in order to get the bottom part off, we have to take this bracket off here. It covers 2 Phillips head screws. There are some videos out there of, you know, how to angle your tool in there and get it off without taking this off, but it's really simple. I mean, it's just a couple 8mm bolts here that come off, and this whole thing lifts out of your way and no headache. So once you get all 4 of these bolts out here, make sure you put them in a safe place. This thing has the lock in the front, but it's captured inside of here on each side. So you tip it upwards and slide it out, and make sure you put it in a safe place. Okay, so once you get the bracket off of there, it opens all of this area up so you can reach everything really nicely. It's going to be exposing these 2 screws, which they're up here, and if you could see where that bracket was, it's on an angle. you know, these little screws get stripped out really easy, so it's worth your time to take that bracket off of there, and just release these screws down in here, and that's the last few things that are holding this bottom plate in. All right, so once you get both of those screws on each side out of there, that's in there. This bottom piece here should just fall out and come out with this. It's like a C shape, so it has some clamps on it, and once you break it free, it slides back out here and then off to the left, I guess, because it's in that shape, and make sure it's in a safe place. All right, so once you got all of that off, it's really clear and easy. We're going to be changing this, so we just take this out. It's just a Phillips head screw. You take these two screws out here. Well, actually, you want to unplug this first from this right here, very easy, and then you just unscrew it and be prepared, because once you get these screws out, it will just drop off. So just be careful when you're unscrewing it, and you don't want to mess it up, although most are going to just toss it out, but you can sell it on eBay, get your money back. So factory is out. All right, so before you remove the rear portion, you want to unplug all of your electronics that you have. So you want to come up here. This is your license plate light. So you want to just squeeze down on that, and that pops off. And then also you want to pull this up. These two here are going to be each one of your signals. So you just take a screwdriver and just kind of gently lift up on that, and it should pop right out. Yeah, and then lift up on that and pop it out. All right, so then after you get done with that, you want to go ahead and take out the bolts for this whole section. Now it's free of its electrical connection, so you just have 4 bolts in here, and it is a I think it's an 8mm on the inside and a 10 on the outside. So once you get all 4 of the bolts, be careful. As you see, I needed a little bit of a hand holding it up there, because it will fall away once you get those bolts out. And there you have your tail end, minus your connection. So a good idea is, what if you are going to be getting a tail light or a license plate light, you can use this if you're just going to throw it away anyways. Clip your wire from about right here, so you can attach this end to whatever aftermarket light or whatever you're going to do to illuminate your license plate. That way you always have a factory connection going back into your bike, and that way you're not touching any of the wires on your bike. All right, so we got the TST Industries close-out bracket, and it's kind of hard to do this one-handed, but this is going to be the bracket for the hole, and then the license plate attaches there. It is in here. And that's actually the close-out hole, and then that's the bracket that goes on the inside, and then outside gets the license plate holder. This one is the adjustable version, so it's a little bit different than some of the other videos that I've seen so far. It has the closeout plate that covers all the hole that is left after taking out the factory stuff. So all right, so once you get the license plate closeout and the plate adapter together, it's a little bit fidgety, but kind of take your time. It goes all together, whatever. Once you get it here, it has the same brackets as the old one that came out, so you're just going to be fitting that back into the same area there where that was, and putting back those 8mm bolts. All right, so in order to install the rear integrated lights, you got to hook up the wires that they give you. They're just plug and play. You don't have to splice anything open. They're just really simple. They come with these male and female ends. Just link up the blue with the blue. They just pop in, and then you slide this over, and that kind of protects that side. And then you got another piece that We'll slide over all of it and keep it nice and firm in there. And it's not going to pull out of there. It's going to be set in there and no tension put on it. Got some protection there, and then they plug right in. You can pop this off or you can leave it. I think it might even reach without it because you're only going to here, so I think you can leave this tie down that's in there already on. Alright, so once you get it wired up and everything, you can just put it in place, let the wires hang down because they're going to be coming to the right side here, and then you can just get your hardware in. It's a Phillips head again. Okay, so then with your wires, you want to take them and go underneath here and then connect straight in. With the blue and black goes into the blue side and the yellow and black goes into the orange side. It's just plug and play, and then this can go back down. This little slot on the side, it's kind of flimsy rubbery, but there's a slot in here where that just locks down in there and keeps it secure. You can just plug that down there, because other than that, this one just plugs directly back in to the factory, and then you have your wires here that you can just kind of tuck in. Alright, so in order to have the brake function, we're adding the lights here to this, and in order to have the brake function, we need to connect the blue wire to the blue wire of the brake light power, and that's going to tap us into the brake lights, and that's going to turn all of the LEDs that are on the bike all red anytime he hits the brake. So we are going to be using one of these here, crimpers. It's the easiest way to really do it. It's really simple. Just slide one side under here in the solid side, and that goes through there, and then you just take whatever wire you're going into that goes onto the open side, and then once you get that laying in that column there, you take your pliers, make sure it's sitting, there's two channels there. Just make sure they're sitting in each of their own channels, and you take this again before you squeeze, double check, make sure, yep, and you just squeeze down and ram that metal in, and boom, you're connected to this wire now. This one here you want to tape off and make sure that there's no short circuit coming out of there, and this just covers up. Simple as that. Alright, just a quick note, it is not the blue wire, although the blue wire is a power, it's the low power side, 6 volt, and then the 12 volt side is this purple one. You'll be able to tell because it's thicker than the other two here. So we did switch it back over, and that activates the tail light alert. So as you can see, it is like, I don't know what color it's showing up right now, but every time you hit the brakes, it flashes and goes with the brake light. So all lights, no matter what mode you're in, when you hit the brakes, will flash red. Safety. All right, from here is pretty much, once you get everything buttoned up, it's pretty much the same thing in reverse. You start with this piece here, and it slides underneath here and cinches back down with the two Phillips head screws and the two plastic retainer clips. Alright, with that bottom piece on, the next piece is going to be the bottom fairing here, and that just goes on, and it has two screws that clip it in. Other than that, it's going to clip on with the other pieces and two plastic clips. little fiddly. You gotta find the upper clips here, and that'll hold it on until you get the rest of it. Just take your time and line it up. It all will go back. Just make sure you got everything in the right place. Alright, so don't forget to put on your plastic cover here. It goes on with the 5mm. Can you hand me that right there? Both of them. Let's go on with your 6, I believe. So pop those on. Cinch those down in just a minute. We're also going to get the bracket here that we took off to reach the screws from the bottom, and actually now no longer need those screws from the bottom, as we have a couple that going through here, so we no longer need that. So we're also going to be putting on the lock mechanism in this bracket that we took off to get to the screw that was on the factory bracket that was on there. This one, again, you have to tip it up. There's these two little slots right here, and this edge fits into them, so you bend it back and just make sure you get past this before you tip it in, and it should align right in there. Got that on. So after this, move on to the shroud that goes over top of the tail light, and then the upper fairing. All right, so the last couple of pieces are going to be the top plastics that fit over, as well as your tail light shroud. Now these kind of fit together, like they're all in one. So this back piece here, it doesn't sit on top, it doesn't sit below, it kind of squeezes in. Some under it, some over it. It sits over top, but you have to kind of squeeze it into place there. It's not really clipped in, but you can kind of get some of your clips at this point now before you cinch it down. So, and then these last 4 bolts go through these 2 up here, and then only the ones down here. And then at the bottom we have the plastic retainers. And also don't forget to pull your strap out before you button it down, or you'll have to be like me and do it all over again. So alright folks, there you have it, the fender Eliminator. We got rid of that big old honking thing in the back, and we got the TST relocator, well, the closeout at least, and that covers up everything underneath there, makes it nice and smooth underneath. And yeah, it's looking good. That backlight works really lovely, it's really bright, and as you notice, there's no exhaust on here, so that's right. So you have to stay tuned for the next video where we are going to be putting on an upgraded exhaust on here. It's a really awesome exhaust, so we're gonna have a video real shortly about that. And like and subscribe. I'm just starting out, so we need as much subscribers as possible. We want to do some live rides and everything, bring you guys along on some of our rides. They get pretty crazy. Yeah, see you on the next one. Later.